and the Meskwaki and the Oceti-Sakowin nations. We recognize and celebrate the rich cultural heritage, wisdom, and resilience of Indigenous communities whose contributions to our society are immeasurable. As people of many ages, genders, races, sexual orientations, classes, abilities, and health statuses, we know how important it is to come together and work together to create a radically welcoming spiritual community. As Unitarian Universalists, our faith expresses our core value of love through how we agree to be together and to support each other. We are guided by the shared principles, sources, and values of our living religious tradition. This morning, as we learn more about our prison ministry team and the Newton UU Fellowship, we will celebrate and explore the inherent worth and dignity of every human person and our shared quest for a world more aligned towards peace and justice. If doing something with your hands helps you, we invite you to visit the Soul Work table outside the sanctuary doors to pick up an exploratory guide or a coloring sheet. If I were not up here, I would have a coloring sheet. Full disclosure. So, if you're newer to our congregation, we invite you to learn more about us after the service by talking with a greeter or by filling out a visitor form in the YouTube show notes so we can connect with you.
Good morning. I'm Bonnie Penno. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a somewhat tall, aging Caucasian, and I'm donning purple glasses, a burgundy dress, and a multicolored jacket. It is with great gratitude that I am part of the prison ministry team. Today's call to worship was written by the men of the Newton UU Fellowship, which is the name chosen by the group of incarcerated men who meet regularly at Newton Correctional Facility in Newton, Iowa. Throughout the service today, we will be hearing more about this group from our prison ministry team and from Bridget Laflin, who has been serving as minister to this group since October. Reading Message of Welcome is one of the spiritual practices that the Newton UU Fellowship engages in every time that they meet together. It is a beautiful declaration of our shared UU values. And today, we share this practice with them by reading this together. It is a group reading, call and response, similar to our chalice lighting words. So the words for both me and you will be on the screen so you can follow along. We gather as one community with many beliefs, following many paths, all with unknown destinations. As one, we seek to be treated fairly. Justice is possible only with love for one another. Equity in our humanity is the design of nature.
Each step we take on our journey allows us to explore who we are.
Transformation stops only when we refuse to advance.
As leaders in a multitude of thought, we embrace the challenges of acceptance.
Pluralism is celebrated through respect for individuality.
Through recognition of the effects of our actions, we govern our words and deeds.
Interdependence allows strength in numbers with caution towards selfishness.
In the spirit of unity, we vow to give as much as we receive.
Generosity is measured in thought, attention, gift, and assistance.
Every soul who seeks our community will be given the opportunity to become the masterpiece that nature intended. This
on Love Will Guide Us. Please rise in body or in spirit. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
As we gather in the spirit of unity and understanding, let us light this chalice, a symbol of our shared faith and principles. In its gentle glow, we find the warmth of compassion and the light of truth. The flaming chalice symbolizes the illuminating power of community, the enduring flame of hope, and the unyielding commitment to justice and equality. As it burns brightly, it reminds us of our shared responsibility to foster warmth, compassion, and unity in our world. Through its flickering flames, we find the strength to advocate for a more just and inclusive society where every individual is embraced and celebrated for their unique contribution to the tapestry of humanity. Please join me in saying our chalice-lighting words as Riley lights our chalice. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the wonder and mystery of this great gift. So let us now kindle the flame of our liberal religious heritage and renew our covenant of mutual love and care. Love is our doctrine, the quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, and to serve those in need. This we promise, this we covenant, with life and one another. Today we also light a candle for justice and healing. In a world often marked by strife and suffering, may this flame serve as a beacon of hope and a reminder of our commitment to making the world a better place. Let us reflect on those who are in need of healing, whether it be physical, emotional, or spiritual. May they find comfort and solace in the knowledge that they are not alone and that this community holds them in our hearts. We also acknowledge the injustices that persist in the world. May this candle inspire us to work tirelessly for equity, to stand up against discrimination, and to be agents of positive change. In the light of this chalice and the flame of justice and healing, may we find the strength and inspiration to make a difference in our own lives and in the lives of others.
morning. Yeah, it's on. Oh. I'm always afraid to speak too loud. I don't want to blow out your eardrums. But I didn't hear myself at first, so I got a little confused. Good morning. My name is, sorry. My name is Nick Kaplan. My pronouns are they, them, and I am the grateful director of Lifespan Religious Education here at UUS. Today I have a book to share with you, and the pictures will be up on the screens, but if you would like to come sit close, I'm going to share it from over here. So if you are in the RE Commons and you'd like to come see the pictures, you can come a little closer. Our book today was written by Daniel Beatty, and he had an experience growing up that made him write this book. His dad was his primary caregiver while his mom was off at work, and when he was very young, his dad was incarcerated. And that drastically changed his experience with the world around him. And so he wrote this book to help other kids understand the experience. We can chat about it later, but I'm going to read it to everyone right now. The book is titled Knock, Knock, My Dad's Dream for Me, by Daniel Beatty, illustrated by Brian Collier. Every morning, I play a game with my father. He goes, knock, knock, on my door, and I pretend to be asleep till he gets right next to the bed. Then I get up and jump into his arms. Good morning, Papa. And my Papa, he tells me, I love you. We share a game. Knock, knock. And then one day, the knock never comes. I wait, but Papa's not there to play our game. And morning after morning, he never comes. He never comes to help me get ready for school. He never comes to cook my favorite scrambled eggs. He never comes to help me with my homework after school. I listen at the door, but I never hear his knock. And then I think, maybe he comes when I'm not home. So I decide to write him a letter and leave it on my desk. Papa, come home, 'cause I miss you. Miss you waking me in the mornings and telling me you love me. See his letter? Papa, come home, 'cause there are things I don't know. And when I get older, I thought you could teach me how to dribble a ball, how to shave, how to drive, how to fix the car. Papa, come home, 'cause I want to be just like you, but I'm forgetting who you are. 2 whole months pass, and my letter to my Papa still sits on my desk, but I leave it and wait for my Papa's knock. And then one day, I come home from school, and on my desk, I find a letter from my father. See, it says, to my dear son. The letter? Dear son, ask your mama to help you make those scrambled eggs we love. Remember to do your homework before you watch TV. I am sorry I will not be coming home. For every lesson I will not be there to teach you, hear these words. As you grow older, shave in one direction with strong, deliberate strokes to avoid irritation. Dribble the page with the brilliance of your ballpoint pen. No longer will I be there to knock on your door, so you must learn to knock for yourself. Knock, knock down the doors that I could not. Knock, knock to open new doors to your dreams. Knock, knock for me, for as long as you become your best, the best of me still lives in you. Knock, knock with the knowledge that you are my son and you have a bright, beautiful future. For despite my absence, you are still here. Knock, knock. Who's there? You are. The end. We have come to, I'm going to hand this right to you, thank you. We've come to the portion of our service where the children and youth and teachers come forward and they take the flame of our chalice to light their lantern and go to religious education classes. Today, we are working with clay, so we might get a little messy. In our Art Explorers curriculum. Would children, youth, and teachers who will be heading to religious education please come forward as Alex lights our lantern from the chalice and Andrew and Xinghui lead us in song.
Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Aye, 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 one more time. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Aye, 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 aye,
A valiant effort. My name is Bridget Laflin. I am a candidate for UU ministry. I am a middle-aged white woman with long brown hair, wearing a maroon top and glasses. Our congregation is made up of many people and many communities. We gather in many ways to learn, sing, laugh, share meals, try new things, and help repair our world. Together, we create a community that nurtures us as we seek to live love more fully and fiercely into the world. This morning, the UUS prison ministry team will be sharing about their work throughout the service. The prison ministry team has led a pen pal program with incarcerated people in Iowa for several years. One result of this program was the formation of a UU fellowship of about 30 incarcerated men who are seeking the transformation that Unitarian Universalism can give them. Reverend Diana, the prison ministry team, and I have been working very hard to provide resources, encouragement, and support for the challenges the fellowship faces inside the prison. I would like to read an excerpt from a letter that was written to Reverend Diana from Chris King, explaining a little about the Newton UU Fellowship and what it has meant to him. To our Coralville brothers and sisters in fellowship, I write to you as the vice chair of the Newton UU Fellowship. December 11th is our one-year anniversary here. It is hard for me to comprehend that it has already been a year since we first met to discuss our own journey and discover the beauty of the jet pig. As you might expect, justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity can be hard to find in this environment. What might surprise you, though, is the abundance of those qualities and the desire to embrace them that can be found here as well. We use the statement, which Bonnie read as the call for worship this morning, and our covenant, which will be shared later in the service, interchangeably in our weekly group sessions, and everyone seems committed to them. We believe they give us a weekly reminder of why we chose to explore our uniqueness and serve as a vow to respect each other as we challenge our own beliefs. I know some of the discussions we have had during group have impacted me deeply. These men here treat the hour we have with a great deal of respect, and we have explored topics ranging from belief systems, inviting speakers who adhere to beliefs of Indigenous North Americans, Latter-day Saints, Catholicism, Asatru, Judaism, and Islam, just to name a few, to artificial intelligence and how it may impact the future. I have heard from several of these men that they cherish the tie we get each week, and I agree with them wholeheartedly. And now I'll read you the covenant which they wrote for themselves. I will respect this community the way I wish to be respected, while being mindful of how my actions may reflect upon my brothers. Judgment is not my place, as we all strive to be blind to the natural things that might divide us. I will do my best to share and respect the thoughts and ideas that others share with me. The sanctity of this group is paramount, and I will not betray the personal affairs of those within it. With an open mind, I will participate in the growth of others and hope to experience a transformation for myself. I make this covenant voluntarily to all who promise it to me.
Each week, we enter the service as individuals, experiencing our own hopes and delights, hurts and worries. We invite you to choose a stone to carry your joys and sorrows, adding it to the water that will embrace it, just as this community embraces you. When we share our joy, it does not diminish, it multiplies. When we share our sorrows, we remember that grief does not have to be carried alone. Sharing joys and sorrows together in this ritual reminds us that life often holds both joy and sorrow in the same moments, and that we must create a community that holds both in equal reverence. For those who would like to share their joys or sorrows in conversation in a smaller venue, the Pastoral Care Associates will be leading a Compassionate Connection Circle in the Walnut Room immediately following today's worship service. These circles, which happen on second and fourth Sundays, are opportunities to share with and support each other on our lives' journeys. If you are participating in our service elsewhere, you may wish to meditatively hold a stone, wash your hands, or meditate on an object near you. And now, if you are in the sanctuary and feel called to do so, please come forward, choose a stone from the basket, and place your stone in the water as we sing together.
Spirit of life and love, we gather with hearts made tender by the joys we share and the sorrows we carry. May we hold one another in compassion with the understanding that we cannot fully know another's life, but that we can accompany them through it. Today, we remember our neighbors behind prison walls and in detention facilities. May they be shown the dignity and respect that they deserve as fellow humans, sharing this sacred earth with us. And open the hearts of those who have power over these vulnerable people. May they be filled with empathy and do what they can to provide support and hope. When systems feel heavy and change is slow, help us to embody resilience by allowing our love to be greater than our fear. Help us to keep showing up, keep telling the truth, and keep building community with courage and humility. Open our minds to learn, our hearts to be changed, and our hands to do what love requires next. Blessed be. Amen.
Good morning. My name is Phil Beck. I am a around 6 foot tall white man with once blonde, now gray hair, badly in need of a haircut. My pronouns are he and him, and I am the grateful member of the prison ministry team. In his weekly email message on December 30th of last year, the Reverend Michael Tino of the Church of the Larger Fellowship wrote the following: Beloveds, I've been wondering what my final 2025 message to you would be. What I could write that would address the pain, grief, and suffering in our midst and still leave us with hope for the new year. I was wondering what I could possibly wish for you, my beloveds, on the cusp of 2026. And then I got a letter from Iowa. In the Newton Correctional Facility, there exists a group of some 28 Unitarian Universalists, all members of the CLF, who have formed their own congregation. They call it the Newton UU Fellowship because they don't want the name of their group to reference incarceration. And they meet regularly, supported by both the CLF and our siblings in Coralville, Iowa congregation. Bridget Laflin, a religious educator and candidate for UU ministry, has been approved as a volunteer to come in monthly and lead worship. These beloveds are thriving in their faith despite barrier after barrier being put in their way. Their leaders have been transferred to other facilities and put in solitary. Their rituals are routinely questioned and often blocked by the prison. We're actively helping them claim their rights to religious freedom and expression. Despite all this, the group's understanding of the life-giving power of Unitarian Universalist values keeps them going. As Christopher King, their secretary, writes, as you might expect, justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, independence, and generosity can be hard to find in this environment. What might surprise you, though, is the abundance of those qualities and the desire to embrace them that can be found here as well. Each week, The group recites a message of welcome in which they commit themselves to living our Unitarian Universalist values. They've given permission for me to share it with you. It is below. And this is what you heard Bonnie lead us in reciting earlier. And so, beloveds, this is what I wish for you in 2026, that wherever you are, you find some bit of fertile ground in which to plant the seeds of our faith. However hard things are or might get, may you be reminded that you are intended to be, to borrow a phrase from the Newton UUF, a masterpiece of nature. And may we all make some space for someone else's masterpiece, nature, to shine this year. Yours in faith, Reverend Michael. Members of our UUS prison ministry team shared Reverend Michael's message with some of our pen pals in the Newton Fellowship. One of them, James, was instrumental in creating the fellowship a couple of years ago. He was released, leaving that foundational work in the hands of others who completed it. Sadly, he is incarcerated again in a different facility. But PMT member Ron Pyle has kept in touch with him, and he shared Reverend Tino's words with him. In reply, James wrote, quote, "I am filled with joy to hear this. Happy tears are flowing from my eyes like rivers, because my very purpose in life is to help improve the quality of life of anyone I can. This undoubtedly has done just that for the men there at NCF." Thank you.
So, since June of last year, I've been working with the prison ministry team here at UUS. They have been supporting prisoners in Iowa through a pen pal program for a long time now. About 3 years ago, a couple of men at the Newton Correctional Facility wanted to know more about UUism, and as their pen pals told them more, they decided they want to form a regular UU meeting inside the walls of the prison. Prisoners are allowed to form a religious group with a weekly meeting time as long as they have 5 members. They gathered the required signatures, filled out the paperwork, and were denied. They appealed, and were denied. They appealed again, over and over. Reverend Diana, your minister, wrote letters on their behalf, provided information on Unitarian Universalism to the Iowa Department of Corrections, and eventually they did recognize Unitarian Universalism as an official religion. It took about 2.5 years. But eventually, the men were allowed to have their weekly meetings. They started by doing a deep dive into the UU values, and then began inviting the leaders of other faith traditions within the prison to teach them about different ways of being spiritual. And soon the size of the fellowship grew to around 30 members. They requested that a UU from outside be allowed to come in and teach them about their new faith. Several people from the prison ministry team applied, and all were denied. The justification for this denial was that they all had previous relationships with the incarcerated individuals through the pen pal program. Those relationships disqualified them from becoming volunteers inside the prison walls. So when I completed my ministerial internship here, I learned about the situation and volunteered to work with these incarcerated UUs. I filed the paperwork and was approved as a volunteer under the supervision of this prison chaplain. So when I contacted the chaplain to find out the next steps, I was told, even though I was approved as a volunteer, he didn't have any available time slots for me to come in. But eventually, in October, I was given permission to volunteer once a month at 9 a.m. on a Monday morning. The challenges faced by this small but mighty fellowship have been immense. They had to fight for years to have their faith recognized as legitimate and at great risk to themselves. They have faced all kinds of misunderstandings about what Unitarian Universalism is and is not, which has impeded their ability to get the same rights and privileges as other faith communities. On the day I was approved as a volunteer, the president of the fellowship was transferred to a different correctional facility, despite the facility's internal policy not to transfer people who were in the middle of a college course, which he was. And the vice president ended up in solitary confinement. We can't say these things are necessarily connected, but the timing is interesting. Over the past several months, I have grown to love this brave little fellowship. The members are so curious to learn more about Unitarian Universalism, spirituality, and how to live into the UU values. I encouraged them to write a covenant for their fellowship, and they showed me a code of conduct that they created. We talked about covenant, and then they wrote the beautiful covenant, which I shared earlier. While serving this fellowship, I have heard so many stories that have given me such hope. One man told me that there was a falling out between two members of the fellowship. And in prison, things like that rarely get resolved. People hold grudges and no one backs down. To back down could be dangerous. It could be a show of weakness. But these two men, since they were both members of the fellowship, were able to work out their differences when called back into covenant by the group. Another man was very concerned about his mom, who was on the outside. She was going through a particularly difficult time, struggling with loneliness and depression, and he asked me for help because he wasn't able to do anything from inside. I was able to put her in contact with the UU minister in her city, and another man in the fellowship was being released the day after one of my visits. He spoke to all of us about his history of being in a gang and his drug addiction. This was the 7th time he'd been incarcerated. But he said it was the first time he was released that he wanted to see change. He wanted to stay clean and start over without drugs, without a gang. He wanted to find a different way. He told us about how small acts of kindness and the support of the UU community made it possible to believe in that possibility. I was able to connect him with the UU minister in the community to which he was released. I hope he's been able to find the support he needs there. He's been in my prayers constantly since he was released. Over the past several months, I have not only heard hopeful stories, though. I've also heard horror stories about life in Iowa prisons, from food coming from containers marked not for human consumption, to solitary confinement in rooms with 24/7 fluorescent lighting, which for the record is considered torture by international standards. Reports of no air conditioning in whole wings of prisons during the worst summer heat, and being denied showers for over a week due to work on the plumbing. Refusal to provide restrooms to visitors, some of whom travel great distances to see their family members. People being released from prison with nothing to their name, not even a change of underwear. And through all of this, despite roadblock after roadblock put in their way, a UU fellowship was started and has been flourishing. with support from the Church of the Larger Fellowship, which has provided them with legal representation, and the continuing support from this amazing congregation. The fellowship continues to fight for additional rights that have been denied. At great risk to themselves, they are fighting for the right to practice their faith in meaningful ways. They are building a beloved community where they are working to learn and grow and transform. They are thirsty for knowledge, for connection, for recognition of their humanity. They are desperate to know that they are not alone, and that someone on the outside remembers that they are there. One man told us that he'd been in prison for the last 16 years. And although he had a family who used to visit, over time, they stopped coming, and he lost connection with them. He literally has no one in the world outside those walls. He wrote, "Can you imagine going 16 years without a hug?" And he's not alone. So many of these individuals are alone behind those bars. I can't even fathom that level of disconnection in my own life. This is an instance where Unitarian Universalism is a saving faith. The community offered by this UU fellowship is a chalice flame providing hope and peace and the warmth of human connection. Their weekly meeting time provides a bit of respite from the harsh conditions surrounding them. The words of wisdom they are able to read and share from the books we send provide glimpses into new ways of thinking and living. And the gratitude these men have shown is immense. Outside of ministerial groups, these men are the most devout UUs I have ever met, if we can even use that word. They truly believe in the transformational power of living into our values. They have seen the proof that forming a sacred covenanted community saves lives. They know that when we truly believe in interdependence, that we cannot ignore the suffering of others, because another's suffering is our suffering, but also that another's joy is our joy. Their faith has rekindled my hopes and my faith in Unitarian Universalism, which comes at the perfect time in my life. On March 27th, I have an appointment to see the Ministerial Fellowship Committee for a final interview. This interview will determine whether or not they believe I am ready to be welcomed into preliminary fellowship as a UU minister, which means I would be eligible to be ordained and can begin searching for my own congregation to serve. As I begin thinking more concretely about what kind of congregation I would like to serve, or what form my ministry might take, I realize how much I have been transformed by this fellowship of incarcerated individuals. When looking for a community to serve, I will be looking at how well that community welcomes the stranger. If one of the men I now serve in prison that I love were to be released and approach that congregation, would they be welcomed or would they be turned away? Would they be excluded because they are not well educated, don't speak proper English? Would they be overlooked because they don't have any money to contribute? Would people's fear of including a formerly incarcerated individual in their community win out over the belief in our stated values of interdependence, generosity, justice, and transformation? Is there potential for that community, that congregation, to learn and grow into a place that accepts and loves people, all people, where and as they are? If I'm being honest, I think a lot of the congregations I have been a part of would have a really difficult time with that kind of welcome. And I worry that these men, when they're released from prison, that they will struggle to find a community in Unitarian Universalism that will support them. I'm concerned that they will feel that they have been deceived, that UUs are no different than anyone else, that there is no more compassion or acceptance within our congregations than there is in the rest of society. When a person is released from prison, they are scared and vulnerable and need a lot of support. The world does not treat them well. Can we be a place where all people are truly welcome? Where people who are rejected by society can come for support and be reminded that they have inherent worth and dignity and they are loved just as they are? Can we be a place of rest and safety for them? I want to believe that we can. I want to believe that we can be the people who truly live into our values. I want to believe that there is a place for all people with good intentions within Unitarian Universalism. And I will continue to work toward that increased capacity for love, compassion, and acceptance in every community I touch, by modeling it in my own life and guiding others in ways that lean into love. And I hope you'll join me. So may it be.
Today, we gather to offer our contributions, not out of obligation, but out of a shared commitment to the principles we hold dear. Our offerings support the life and work of this Unitarian Universalist congregation. They enable us to continue our mission of fostering spiritual growth, promoting social justice, and building a beloved community. Your generosity helps sustain our program's outreach efforts and the upkeep of our sacred space. Cash and non-pledge offerings are shared between our community partner agencies and UUS, with 75% going to support our partners. Our community partner agency this month is United Action for Youth, a local nonprofit agency where young people and adults work together in partnership to create a safe and healthy community. UAY has been supporting young people and families in Johnson County and surrounding areas for more than 55 years. If you are writing a check, in the memo line, please either write pledge or to contribute to your annual pledge or offering to support our social justice giving. You can follow the instructions on the screen to give online or via text. We invite you to give from your heart, whether through financial contributions or the gift of your time and talents. Your support, in whatever form it takes, makes a meaningful difference. Remember that no offering is too small, and every act of generosity contributes to the strength of our community.
For the past few Sundays of February, we've been singing Be the Light by Leah Morris for our gathering song. And now at the end of February, the UUS singers are excited to present the full version, the full choir version of this piece by Leah Morris for you. So please enjoy.
May what has been shared today help us more fully affirm our interconnection and live into love and justice. After the service, we gather in the fellowship hall and outside for conversation and community. Probably not outside, but there is some really cute birds at the bird feeder right now. I think one of them was a woodpecker, but right now there's a dark-eyed junco. Very cute. So outside is beautiful, but maybe not to be in. Sorry, totally got distracted by the birds. If you're a newcomer, we hope you'll grab a snack and then sit at the table so that folks can come and join you for conversation. After today's service, you can also join us for the final Social Change Now workshop in the RE wing at 11:30. We also will have the Pastoral Care Associates leading a Compassionate Connection Circle in the Walnut Room immediately following the worship service. And although this week is not a Social Justice Sunday, those are usually the second Sundays of the month, I want to remind you to check out the Prison Ministry Team table on March 8th, which is our next Social Justice Sunday, or you can talk to one of the Prison Ministry Team folks that we heard from today if you're interested in learning more about their ministry and the work they're doing in Newton.
Our closing hymn for this morning is number 1028, The Fire of Commitment. Please rise in body or in spirit.
Please join me in the words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All these we carry in our hearts and in our minds until we are together again. Our benediction today are words written by Darcy Roque. Every day, there is too much injustice in this world to right the balance. Every day, there is too much pain in this world to not heal. Every day, each of us ministers to a weary world. Let us go forth now and do that which calls us to make this world more loving, more compassionate, and more filled with the grace of divine presence every day.